The game we're going to look at today is a game that I accidentally played. I initially wanted to get a round of Blitz in, but I ended up not changing the game mode, so I played a 10-minute rapid game. And I think it's pretty dang good. Over the past few days, I've dedicated a lot of time to drilling in the fundamentals and the core principles of being good at chess, and I really think it's paying off. I'm making better decisions overall across the board. I'm seeing in my game reviews that I'm making the best moves or the second best moves way more frequently than I was before this. And in this game here, there are definitely some blunders. There are some things that I noticed while I was playing. I was like, that definitely was incorrect. But there was a lot of things that I did right, and I think reviewing this game with you is going to be a lot of fun. So let's jump into the game against Searchlab, a 790 elo player at the time of playing this game, who opens up with the e4. I respond, mirroring him, and now the beginning of every single match, my focus is just getting pieces developed. Now I did move the h6 pawn because I hate the fried liver. It feels like everybody in 700 elo 800 elo is trying to get the fried liver off on you, so I didn't like that. I moved the h6 pawn. He decides to move his c3 pawn. I move my knight forward. He moves this pawn forward, threatening my pawn. And in this position, I kind of was like, well, this pawn is hanging, so I'm gonna take this pawn. If he takes here or here, I can take with my knight. After he takes with his knight, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely taking. We're going to take some center control here because he didn't take with the pawn, so he's not going to be able to push forward and threaten my knight. If he takes my knight, I can take, either opening up the queen, offering a trade, or take with the b pawn. And even though I'm doubling up, at least it's an even trade of knight for knight. And so that's what happens in this opening position here. He does threaten me with his queen, and I decide, okay, I'm going to defend. If he decides to take, I can take with my queen. I will be way ahead of material in this position. I'm defending my knight. I liked where I was at for this opening. Now, white, according to the evaluation bar, is slightly favored, but we can't always be in a completely winning position, especially in these early games here where you do make a couple of mistakes. He moves his white bishop down, his light bishop, light bishop. I don't know why I thought that was the incorrect thing to say, but he moves his light bishop down to threaten my knight. I move my dark bishop up to threaten his knight. So again, my idea here is that if he takes, I can take. I would like to threaten this so that if, I can't remember exactly what the thought process was, but it was kind of like, if I take here, I think this knight was threatening something that I didn't like. He was threatening, I don't remember. I think it was like, if he takes, I take, he takes, but then I can put the king into check, and the only way he gets out is with the queen. Something like that. I might be misremembering, even though I just played the game. I can't remember exactly what the thought process was here. The other thing that I was thinking is, I don't like the two pieces being pinned, my two knights being pinned. So if I can castle, that also feels like an appropriate move. So this might have just been that. Maybe in the thought process, it was like, I just want to be able to castle. I probably could have just moved to the d6 square to do that. Stay a little bit safer, but I thought this has some more influence over the center of the board. Not the worst thing possible. He moves his dark bishop out, kind of counteracting my bishop. So now if he takes, I could take, or if he takes, I take, he takes, and then I take here, depending on, you know, the order of operations that happens with the piece that he moves. But my thought here is, let's castle, let's break the pins off of these bishops, and now my knights are re-engaged and ready to move around the board freely. So when he brings his pawn out, his f pawn out, I notice that I can immediately put him into check with my queen. He decides to lose castling rights instead of defending, which I think is the right move, because I know when I was looking at this and kind of deciding if I should put him into check or not, I thought if he does take here with his g pawn, I'm gonna move my threatened knight out of the way into taking the pawn. His option then is to I take, or his option is to not take and he has to move his queen somewhere. So that was kind of the idea. I was like, it's really going to throw him off in this position with whatever he's thinking. What I didn't anticipate, well, he did move away, but what I didn't anticipate looking at this was the idea that he could also just threaten me with his bishop, which would have just been a good play all around. And you'll see in the next move after this is a blunder. So what I should have done here in this position was knight takes c3 for check. So I should have knight takes c3 for check. Oh, c3 for check. This is what I should have moved. So I should have gone this direction, putting him into check. The two responses would be to take the knight with the pawn or his knight. That is not what happened. I actually went knight f2 into check. And so you can see here, this is a massive blunder. I'm basically winning the position. And after taking knight f2, I didn't compute or recognize that he could take with bishop, and taking with bishop means that now my queen is threatened. I'm down a knight and I can't put him into check again. So I didn't notice that. It's a blunder. I understand. Hey, listen, we all blunder. Every once in a while, we're all gonna have a brain fart moment. And so from here, I just moved my queen to safety. However, I thought that if I'm able to move my queen over here, I could then take the knight. He takes, I take, he takes, I take. If I stay on the 4th rank, I'm able to do that, putting him back into check. His options are to move the knight, to move the bishop, to move the queen in the way, to stop that check from happening, but I will come out in a better position, so I thought. That's not actually what ends up happening. He takes my knight. I decide to trade bishops in this position because it's going to move the queen out of the way. So now the queen is not defending this bishop. The queen is not right beside the king. I feel a little bit more comfortable with that. I bring my queen down. Another horrible decision. According to the evaluation bar, in this position, B takes C6. So I should have taken, this would mean that bishop takes D3. Bishop takes D3. How does that happen? What are you talking about? Bishop to D3. I see, not takes. I need to learn how to read this. I just realized I don't have the evaluation thing up here. I do apologize. I'm so sorry that I didn't have that up there for you guys to take a look at. I know that that's a fan favorite here on the channel. So this is what he should have done. This is what I should have done. This is not what happens. After the queen moves over, I come down. My thought process was this, and it wasn't a good thought process, but I thought that now when he moves the knight, he can move the knight here. I can't take with the rook because the queen will take. I did notice that during the game, but at the very least, my rook is going to be safe if I don't take. The knight is going to be disengaged. I can then develop my white bishop somewhere into the board, or even offer the trade here and take that, getting the bishop off the board and having the knight kind of disengaged in a weird spot. That was my thought process. The other thing is, if he doesn't move these pieces, I can take. I'm threatening the light bishop. What he ends up doing is running away, which is good because now the queen doesn't have a line to this A file. And now I'm able to offer the bishop trade that I initially wanted. When he does take it, I happily accept the trade. I've kind of gotten into this mindset of trades are good. Even if you're down on material, if the position seems advantageous, if you can get into a spot where you have a vision for something, I think it's good. That might not be right, that might not be the most accurate thing in the world, but you'll see that it pays off for me in the end here, especially after I see the pawn move to b4. I immediately develop a rook. I'm thinking, all right, we've got some options here. If I'm able to get, a bit of a battery happening, I might be able to put him into check here. After he decides to throw his rook over, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm gonna trade the rooks. He's gonna take. I'm gonna now threaten his queen, and he's got basically the option of moving out of the way, and then I can, put him back into check after a battery. Doesn't make a ton of sense because I'm gonna end up losing my pieces, but now I control the empty E file. that feels pretty good. When you can control a complete empty file, that feels all right in my opinion. And at this point, I'm looking at ways to remove this knight from the board to get this D pawn a little bit closer, potentially offering a little bit of safety on the E and C square for a rook, for my queen, or potentially getting the king out of the way so that I'll be able to promote that pawn. He starts moving his pawns up on the ABC side of the board. I now get exactly what I wanted, threatening the knight, knowing for a fact that he's going to take. I'm going to take, continue the threat on the knight, which does happen. He jumps out of the way, and now I have a couple of options here, right? The best move in this position is H5, so I should just be moving this pawn up, right? That's not what I do. The next best option would be A6, which would be here, threatening the knight. I don't remember if that's what I did. I'm looking ahead. I'm peeking ahead here on the move order. That's not what I do. So what I do end up doing is, oh yes, I did do A6. Sometimes I don't know how to read this. I'm still learning, but I'm really liking it. It's making sense to me. Okay. I do move A6, which was the second best move in the position, forcing him to retreat. And now I decide, because he's cutting off the line from the rook, I'm going to put the king into check. He has to retreat. I obviously can't take the rook here because then the knight gets my queen for free. I would just be hanging it. So I jump over to this C4 pawn. Now, from this position, the best option is queen to B5. So actually just queen to B5. How do I get to B5 from here? Oh, just here. Oh, interesting. I don't know why that's the best position. Then what's the follow-up? Queen F2. Queen moves to F2. And then you're supposed to go D4. Here. He takes. I take. He takes, putting a threat on this. Queen to D3. Queen to D3 check? Oh, wow. I never would have seen this. This just is not, this is nowhere near my level of what I would be looking at. Knight to D2 now. Knight to D2 to defend that. Rook to C8 here. Rook to, no, knight to E2. What is happening here? Stopping like this from happening or something? I don't know. This is crazy. I don't understand those moves whatsoever. This is the position that I was in. The knight jumps over, threatening my queen. I decide, let's put you into check. Let's see what you do. He could move his queen. If he does that, it's going to basically be game over because I will happily sacrifice my rook to be taken by the knight to be able to throw him back into check. Actually would have gotten me killed there, so I wouldn't have done that. I would have seen that. But being able to maybe, like, you know, take some pawns out of the way, certain ideas. At the very least, I was getting the queen if he jumped in there, which now it's a queen versus two knights and a rook, but I'm up on pawns, so that feels pretty good. And you can see this entire game, for the most part, I'm at a disadvantage, but I'm trying to play with these core principles in mind, regardless of what this evaluation bar would have been saying, because these core principles have been getting me more wins. I've been playing the better moves. It doesn't matter if you're down. It doesn't matter the position that you're in. If you are looking for the equal trades, if you're looking to take the center of the board, if you're protecting your king, these are all things that have been winning me more games over the past couple of days. So when he moves his knight in the way, I think, okay, I have a couple of options here. Let's just push a pawn up. If he takes, I get to take. We still have a pawn on the D4. We're way closer than any of his pawns will be. We're also going to make sure we've got two passed pawns. So that's what I do. End up taking, trading those pawns. This pawn is hanging, but just because the pawn is hanging doesn't mean that he's actually going to take right now. In this position, it says that knight to C2 makes a lot of sense. It also says that rook to A2 makes a lot of sense. So there's other better positions for him to look at. He's not really worried about this pawn. And after he moves knight to C4, knight to c4, which was the move after. I don't know how we got there from where I was at in the move order. Anyways, knight to c4, you can see we're now at a pretty much even position because this knight is hanging. Luckily, I saw that. You'll also notice this is one of the few times that we're at the halfway mark for time, and I'm actually ahead. Most of the time, I'm thinking very in-depth. Even the video from yesterday is me losing because I wasn't good at time management. I took too long to make some decisions, and playing with these fundamentals has actually helped me with my time management in most cases. Some situations I'm still overthinking, but for the most part, it's making it way easier for me to decide on what to do. He puts some pressure on me with his rook. I move over, putting him back into check. He moves his knight in the way, and now I'm retreating back to try to set up maybe some sort of a battery, maybe march the pawns up here. He decides to take, protecting by the knight, and I looked at this and I thought, I'm up a pawn, I can take, he will take, I can pin the knight to the king, and now I just need to get this pawn promoted. That was my thought process, okay? Is it the best position in the entire world? Probably not, but he does end up taking. I am able to move my rook over and pin him to the king, and he moves his rook beside the knight. From here, I'm thinking about my fundamentals. What are the good things to do in the late game? Well, you want to bring the king closer to the center of the board. That's exactly what I end up doing. I have to take a little detour here because the knight is protecting. I also didn't want to get in a position where I'm somehow, even with his rook here, I didn't want to put my king in front of the rook, allowing him to skewer me. When he puts me into check, I move closer. This is now ensuring that if I do take with my rook, his king can't take back. He moves up, putting me into check. And what is one of the other things fundamentally that I've been trying to preach? It is trades are good. This is from Amon, the Grandmaster, Chessbra. He just likes these trades. Learning this is like a hack in chess, okay? If you can trade pieces, it feels incredible. From this position, it's a knight against 4 pawns, and I've got a passed pawn on the A file. I'm feeling unstoppable, especially when I see his knight jump the other direction. I was a little bit worried about him jumping over here. From here, he's now, or not here, but here. From here, if I move my pawn up, he's able to take. Obviously, I can move over and threaten him with the king. Knights and kings don't play along very nicely. You're never going to take a knight with a king, but at least you're going to force it to move out of the way more often than not. Now, in this position, G6 is best. So I should be moving up, threatening the knight. These pawns, though, I didn't want to move. And the reason I didn't want to move them is because I knew if I could focus his knight over here, I would, in theory, be able to promote this pawn. If he's focusing on these guys to try to get his pawns to turn into passed pawns, my passed pawn can become a queen and move around the board way quicker. So I start shuffling up. He takes my G6 pawn. I shuffle up again. In this position, I actually should have moved king to king to E5. That doesn't make any sense. I think in this position, I should have been moving my king up and over so that now if he does this, I'm able to do this. If he does this, I can't stop him here, but he can jump over. And now my pawn is stuck in this position. If he had started moving over early enough, but I would be able to move, he could do this, I could do this. At least I can like play around over here, and I've got 2 minutes of time on him. So I'm gonna probably lose this pawn, but none of that happened. None of that, don't worry about that, okay? I pushed my pawn up. He thinks, oh God, I gotta bring my knight back. Push my pawn up, and I was doing the math. I was like, oh God, if he moves his king, I'm pretty screwed. So please don't move your king. And he doesn't. He continues to move his knight. I'm sure that this endgame could have been played very differently. You can see in this position, he is still clearly winning with a material advantage of 3 with a knight, stopping me from promoting the pawn here. I shuffle over. He puts me into check. I jump up. He jumps down, puts me into check one more time. I move my king up, completely halting any chance of him to stop this promotion. and that is game over. He resigned from this position with 2 minutes left. I had a 2-minute time advantage on him. I played at a disadvantage the entire game, but I was running him out on time. I was making him have to choose between what pieces to move, trading things down. I think in this endgame, there is a scenario where I'm able to win, like even back here. I think there's a world where I'm able to make the best moves and stop the king from stopping me from promoting. I don't 100% know that for sure. I probably got a little bit lucky here, but especially after he decided to attack everything with his knight and not move his king over, that's when I was pretty confident that I was locked in on the win, and he resigned. I'm not a grandmaster, but I feel like a chess master the past couple of days. I kind of went through the I don't know what I don't know phase, and now I'm in the like I know what I don't know phase, but I'm trying to learn what I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying before. It's like people don't know what they don't know, then they do know what they don't know, then they learn what they don't know, and then you know what you don't know. There's levels to everything in life, and I feel like I'm taking a step up in my life level of chess. At this point, I just sound like a schizophrenic rambling. At the end of the day, this is a very exciting game. I'm happy with how it turned out, obviously from winning, but I'm also happy with my decision-making process and how I was able to take a game that was completely losing and flip it on its end, even though I also wasn't planning on playing. I accidentally hit the play button, and when I hit the play button, I gotta play. I'm severely addicted to chess. Please send help, but please don't. I love this. So that's all for today. If this game was exciting for you, you enjoyed watching it, definitely subscribe because I upload a new chess video here every single day. If you made it this far in the video, you probably enjoyed yourself, so drop a like on it. It helps me out immensely, and I'd really appreciate it. But with my light shilling out of the way, I just want to remind you, you're great, you're beautiful, I love you. Don't forget that you're a wonderful person, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.